Hey guys. Hey. Remember how I didn't upload for like 3 months and then I randomly uploaded in October and I didn't upload again until right now, this very moment? Right. I almost want to be like, oh, let's address it. And it's like, there's actually nothing to address. There's no real reason why I didn't upload, honestly. I guess I just naturally wanted a break and didn't want to upload, I guess. And I don't really know what that means. I just don't know. I don't know anything, guys, but what I do know is that 2026 will be much better for me in terms of uploading. I already have like the first month of episodes. I didn't even introduce myself or the podcast. Hello and welcome back to the Bedroom Clip podcast. I don't know what episode number this is actually, so we'll have to see. Maybe this is your first time watching, or it's been so long since I've posted that you completely forgot who I am. My name's Adana. Nice to meet you. I'm your host. Sorry. And you know what? I know that was really cringe, so I apologize. I guess to start, I haven't uploaded in a very long time. And the last time I uploaded an episode was also the first time I hadn't uploaded in a very long time. I guess I just wasn't in the place for it, which we kind of talked about the last time. But I thought that I was going to be like ready to go after that last episode. And I just wasn't, unfortunately. But saying all that to say that I actually am ready to go now. And this is going to be the last episode for 2025. But I'm really excited for 2026. I already have like the first month or two of posts like planned out. It is going to require a lot more work on my end than what I had been doing typically. And again, I think in the last episode I talked about that, like a lot of this podcast has been me talking about myself and my feelings, which is all fine and dandy and awesome and great, but it gets old. And so, at least for me, it got old. And I think for that reason, it was just time to sort of revamp. And so, next year's episodes, I plan on doing like having more focused topics, maybe a little bit more social or political commentary. Maybe not political, a little bit of, human behavior kind of conversations. We'll see. That's definitely the plan. But again, it's going to require more research on my end because typically the episodes are just like, ha ha ha, funny, or like me talking about something related to my life and my emotions and my perspective, which again, totally great. Maybe not the only thing I want to talk about. I'm really excited to sort of revamp. And I know, again, I said that I can't talk. I know I said that last time. Now I actually have like a different schedule, which actually I guess we'll talk about, but I have a schedule laid out for like what topics I'm going to talk about, what points I'm going to hit on in each episode for the like first few months of 2026. Not few, first couple, like first 2 months of 2026. And I'm going to try to keep planning for a little bit because I think that's also something that helped me in the beginning of the podcast was that because it was something that I had been thinking about doing for a long time, I had a lot of topics that I wanted to talk about that were more personal, I guess. Once I started to run out of those topics, I started having a much more difficult time following through on the podcast, I think, because I just wasn't excited to talk about anything related to myself anymore, if that makes sense. Hopefully, doing some more planning, being a little bit more intentional about what I talk about will, push me to sort of upload more. Well, it's not hopefully. I'm going to, because it gets to a point and it's actually getting embarrassing to not, or like to be so lazy about it, I guess. So we're clocking back in. Thank you very much. I was gonna say let's hop right in, but I low-key already hopped right in. Thanks for joining me, guys. I appreciate the patience. And to all my friends who've been asking me, oh, where's the podcast? What's up with you? What's up with that? No excuse, honestly. No excuse. But we're here. We're here with another episode. So let's just hop right in. Today's December 21st, so it's a Sunday, December 21st. As the year's ending, I kind of wanted to treat this episode as like a 2025 wrap-up episode. And so wanted to talk about some things, just sort of reflect on the year that I had, talk about maybe some goals for next year. I want to talk about my Spotify Wrapped and my Creator Wrapped because of the podcast and it's on Spotify. I have a Creator Wrapped, which is fun. What other things do I want to talk about? My ins and outs for the year, which I have a friend who always loves talking about ins and outs, and I usually don't have as much to contribute to the conversation, but I wrote some things down that I want to talk about in regards to all those topics. So let's just hop right in, y'all. I will be using my phone because I have a lot of things written down on my phone, which honestly might become a staple of the podcast. Might use my phone for notes a lot more in this coming year. But I guess before we hop into the more reflective parts of the episode, we can go through life updates. But I don't have any life updates, honestly, guys. I still work at the same place, still got the same car, still don't have a boyfriend, still sing at my church. Nothing's changed. Something I am going through right now, though, I think my teeth are shifting. My teeth are pretty straight, I would say, but I do have two teeth on my bottom row that are like crooked and kind of curve inwards, like towards the center of my mouth. It's been that way since like I was a kid, and it's never bothered me. But now I think my wisdom teeth on the right side of my mouth are growing in, which they've, like, the last time I went to the dentist, they also were growing in. It has been a couple years since I've been to the dentist, so please don't ask. But they were growing in the last time I went to the dentist, but the dentist was like, if it's not painful, we don't need to, prioritize it. It's not a big deal. I do think that they're growing in maybe a little bit faster now or stronger, or I don't really know what the word is, but I do think that they're growing in more prominently now because I feel like because of how my crooked tooth is, it's almost like there's like a little gap because it's not really in its place. It's like crooked inwards. I think my teeth are trying to close that gap basically, but it's not really a gap because there is a tooth there. It's just crooked. I feel like for the past day or two, I've been feeling pressure on it a little bit more. I wouldn't say it hurts. Like, it's not a sharp pain necessarily, but it does feel like a dull sort of aching pressure sort of situation, which I'm definitely not enjoying. Again, it's not like too bad, but I definitely am going to try to go to the dentist within the next few days so I can, figure something out. Hopefully get on maybe Invisalign. I'm just so broke right now for Invisalign, guys, but that's my update. My teeth feel weird, hurts a little bit on this side, and I need to go to the dentist ASAP. No Rocky to get that figured out, but pray for me, guys. Pray for me that everything's, not too bad. First, I wanted to talk about Spotify Wrapped. I love Spotify Wrapped. Every year I look forward to it. Although this year it really crept up on me, like I did not even realize. And I don't feel like as many people were talking about Spotify Wrapped at first. I don't know. Usually there's a lot of anticipation towards Spotify Wrapped. And like I didn't even remember about it, or I wasn't even thinking about it. And usually I am because people are talking about it on social media. But I guess people aren't talking about it, and so I forgot. This is my personal Spotify Wrapped because I also do want to talk about my Creator Wrapped because I have that, and some of the facts on it were like kind of cool. I was like, wait, this is low-key fight. This is my personal Spotify Wrapped. So I'll just talk through my top songs, top artists, and then I like that Spotify added. I think this was an addition. I don't remember it in other years, but I like that they added your top albums for the year because my top albums was probably the funniest part of my Spotify Wrap to me. My top song of the year was I Miss You by Gracie Binion. That's a like Christian worship song. And then Isn't It Obvious by Alessia Cara. And then So Much Better I Yield, also with Gracie Binion and Legacy Nashville, Christian worship song. Go Outside by Alessia Cara, and then Man I Need by Olivia Dean. And then my top artists were Alessia Cara was number 1. Number 2 was Olivia Dean. Mind you, all of the people that were in my top 5, I was really not shocked because I listened to these people a lot, especially this year. Like, a lot of them dropped projects. I'm a little surprised that Lizzie McAlpine was on here. Not because of any specific reason. She's usually in my Spotify Wrapped. But I didn't realize how much I was listening to her this year, I guess. Because her album came out last year. So I'm like, wow. I was really still listening, but since I started listening to her, she usually is in my Spotify Wrapped. So it's not super, super shocking, but I just didn't realize. I don't know. I feel like a lot of times Spotify Wrapped, like I don't realize how much I listen to some of these people. And I'm like, wow, must be a lot. Number 3 was Lizzie McAlpine. Number 4 was Elevation Worship. And then number 5 was Gracie Binion. Not super surprising. I feel like I do listen to a lot of these people. I knew especially that Olivia Dean, I thought that she might have been my number 1 artist because I just was listening to her album so much. It dropped at like the perfect time seasonally. It kind of came out like fall-ish to me, and it's such a fall album. Like I truly was overplaying it. Overall, really happy with the artists that I got. Not super surprised. Top albums. This was personally my favorite part just because I feel like it was a little chaotic and I liked that because I feel like that describes my music taste. Maybe not chaotic, but like diverse. And I thought that that was funny. My number 1 album was Love and Hyperbole by Alessia Cara. That's the project she dropped in February. I think she dropped it on Valentine's Day, actually. And I really loved it. I love Alessia Cara. I've been listening to her since I was in high school. And I feel like she's someone who, I don't know, I think people don't take her seriously because they just think of like her most popular songs like Stay and Here and all these other songs. Which like there's nothing wrong with those songs. But guys, trust, if you truly listen to like the deeper cuts, I guess, actually so good. I think a lot of people would like her if they gave her the chance. You know what I mean? Because there are artists that I listen to sometimes and I'm like, okay, I understand why this isn't universal. But I think Alessia Cara is someone who has songs that people would like if they would, you know, step outside of their preconceived notions, I guess, about her. Because again, they just think of her as like scars to your beautiful, here, stay girl. But guys, she's more than that. And I also got to see her live like a month or two ago, which was also so fun. And again, like I've just been listening to her for a really long time, and I think I truly felt healed. Like my high school self was truly healed seeing her show because it was just like, oh my gosh, I love all these songs. I remembered how much I loved songs from high school by her. That's my queen. My number 2 album was The Art of Loving by Olivia Dean. Not super surprising. I thought it was going to be my top album of the year just because I was like, wow, every time I get into the car, I'm listening to this. I love it. Oh, should I say my favorite song from each one? Maybe I'll say 2 songs each. And I would say Love and Hyperbole. I really loved Left Alone. I love Isn't It Obvious? And I'll say Clearly. Those are probably my top 3. And then The Art of Loving by Olivia Dean. I would say my favorite songs. There's so many, honestly. I love the whole thing, but I'll say Baby Steps, Let Alone the One You Love. Man, I Need. Makes me feel like I'm in a different decade, which I love. And then we have I Miss You by Gracie Binion. This is a Christian worship album. And I would say my favorite songs from that album are I Miss You, Song of Songs, featuring Nate Diaz. And then, ooh, you know what? Yeah, Father's House. Also on this album. Have I been saying 2 or 3? 6, 7. Okay. I think I've been saying 3. So yes, for Gracie Binion's album, I would say I Miss You, Song of Songs, and Father's House. Love. And then we had Addison by Addison Rae. Everybody take Addison Rae seriously as a musician right now. I feel like if you like Brat, then you can like Addison Rae's album. You know what I mean? Not that it's like a perfect, you know, I'm not trying to say that they're even the same. It's just like similar enough that I think if you enjoy Brat, there are lots of things to enjoy about Addison. So good. I like that like hyper pop, dance pop, electronic sort of vibe. I don't know if I'm using the right words, but I liked her project a lot and I saw her live as well, which was actually so fun. I would say my top 3 songs are I'll say Fame is a Gun, New York, and Headphones On. Sure. I know there's some like maybe too many singles in my top 3, but whatever. Those are my favorites. And then my 5th most listened to album was Hamilton. It was in fact Hamilton. I'm not going to pick a top 3 because I feel like it's such a continuous story that I can't. That's a lie. I was going to say I can't pick my top 3, but I definitely can. And I can tell you right now that it's Wait for It, Nonstop, and wait, no. There's so many songs on Hamilton that I love, but definitely Wait for It and Nonstop. I'll just leave it at that because those exceed everything else for me. Something that I love and adore about Lin-Manuel Miranda, because I've listened to many of his projects at this point. I also love In the Heights. He also did some work on Bring It On, which I also love. I love how he maintains melodies throughout his projects, which I think is a very common thing in Broadway, but some composers do it very, very well. I'm actually not really well versed in Broadway at all, so please don't even start trying to quiz me. But I do feel like Lin-Manuel Miranda does a really good job of like bringing back musical themes. I think Hamilton is like perfection in that regard. The melodies that he brings back, when he brings them back, who sings them, all of that stuff is just so well done. Like, it's perfect for me. That's one thing that I like about his projects, because I think that those are things that, like, Bring It On has some of those same things, not as much, but has some of those consistent melodies. In the Heights is also like that. And I think something else I like about, like, if I'm thinking of those three projects, and honestly, he did 21 Chump Street too. And even that, I think probably my favorite thing about the way he writes is like all these melodies stacked on top of each other, and like they all just line up so perfectly even though they're completely different melodies, and he has like all his characters singing at the same time. I love that so much. Like, I love that you can listen to it like 10 times and listen to a different part each time. Love that. I think that's why I love Nonstop from Hamilton so much, because there's that part, like that last minute or minute and a half. So good. Everybody's singing their like theme, and I love that. And In the Heights is like that too, like with 96,000, the last minute or so is also like that. Like, everybody's singing their song, their signature song, kind of. Bring It On has songs like that. I can't think of it right now, but um does Bring It On have songs like that? Maybe not Bring It On, actually. I think that's my point, is that I love Lin-Manuel Miranda, and I love the way he writes. Like, he eats down, I'm sorry. Anyways, let me stop talking about Lin-Manuel Miranda. You're done. That was my Spotify Wrapped. Those are my top 5 albums and top artists and top songs. I just thought my top albums was so funny because I had like 2 more indie, I guess, sort of indie softer albums, and then I had 1 like dance pop sort of album, and then 1 worship album, and then musical theater. Like, girl, what are you doing? But I think that that's actually a perfect way to describe me as a person. So that was probably my favorite part. But yeah, that was my Spotify Wrapped. I did want to talk about my creator Wrapped. I thought that there was some fun little facts. I'm not going to share as much from this. Let's get into some facts, I guess, from my creator Wrapped. First of all, again, thank you guys for listening. I know that I was not as consistent with uploading this year, especially in like the second half of the year. But just know that I am back for 2026 for real. I have plans. I have topics already laid out. I have agendas. I just need to, like, do some research on some stuff that I'm going to talk about. But I will be better next year. Trust and believe that. With that being said, let's get into the wrap. 7 countries were reached overall. United States. Hello, Argentina. Hola. Number 3 was France. Bonjour. Number 4, Nigeria. What language is spoken in Nigeria? I actually don't know. How to say hello in Nigerian. Sorry. Please don't cancel me, because I'm trying to be cultured and educated. I hope I say this right. But my 4th country was Nigeria, and I just looked up how to say hello in Igbo. When I looked it up, it said Ndewo. Boom. Country number 5 was Indonesia. Just give me 1 second. How to say hello in Indonesian. Halo. Oh, okay. Okay, T. Halo. Hello to all my friends in Indonesia. I think it's just more so like countries reached. So maybe, you reached. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean that my listeners are here in these places, but crazy that someone in these countries could have had access to my stuff. But yeah, so we're global. We're international. Sorry, that was also really cringe. I hated that. And then fact number 2, you're a top 10 show for 21 fans. Thank you for those 21 people. You're a top 5 show for 19 fans. Thank you to those 19 people. You're the number 1 show for 9 fans. Thank you to those 9 people. I guess those were my top facts from my creator Wrapped. So very fun, very exciting. Hopefully next year is even betterer and betterer. With all the wrapped stuff out of the way, let's do some reflecting on this year, maybe talk about some goals for next year. Wanted to talk about one major highlight from 2025, which was 100% without a doubt my trip to Peru. Just so spiritually fulfilling. Probably every single day I have a thought, dang, I wish I was in Peru. I wish I was in Peru right now. Such a beautiful trip. I feel like God really showed up for the community in Peru that we were serving. I think he really showed up for the students that I was with. And I think he really showed up for me. And it was really, really cool to be a part of that. I think the culture in Peru is also very beautiful and different. And I think specifically the church that we partner with, beautiful. They're like, I guess their impact on the community is similar to the impact on the community from my church here in the United States. Because I go to a pretty big church. People always joke that it's a mega church. It's not a mega church, but it's definitely one of the biggest churches in the area, I would say. It might even be the biggest one, honestly. But also maybe I just think that because I go there. But like there's 3 campuses. All 3 are pretty well attended, have multiple services, you know, very nice building, like very nice infrastructure. Like it's a big church. And I think that there are pros and cons with big churches for sure. I go to Church of the Redeemer, by the way. But I think something I really love about my church and I'm proud of is that even though it's a big church, it's a very giving church. And I think it is big. And because, there are so many members, I'm sure that they have a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like, you look around and you can tell that it's a church with money, but you can also tell that that money is not hoarded. On a personal level, like I know people, I'm saying people, but maybe it's just like one specific person, but we do know like a family friend who was down on his luck a few years ago and reached out to the church for help, and they like put him in a place to stay, paid his rent for a few months. Like, even though it's such a big church, they do make an effort to, reach people, and I think that that's really beautiful. They do a lot of outreaches, like food distribution and things like that, especially around the holidays, and literally like serving tens of thousands of people in the area when the holidays come. And I don't know, I think I wouldn't be proud of going to a big church if it was a big church and I couldn't see the impact in the community. But like they do Thanksgiving or Christmas outreach, and there's literally lines of cars like backing up the roads going into the church because there's people that just like are in need. And I'm proud to say that my church does all that they can to meet that need. I'm not saying everything about a big church is perfect. I can definitely think of some cons, but I think one thing that like the church is supposed to do is be generous. And I can say with confidence that my church is very generous. Like not just the members, but the church itself. Well, like not physically, but the church, I guess, staff, like people actually running it are very generous in the community. Anyway, saying all that to say that our sister church in Peru is the same way. Like their impact on the community. I mean, you go anywhere in Peru, people know them. It's also a pretty big church from what I could tell when we were there. Very well attended, such a cornerstone of the community in Peru. Very giving, always going out to neighborhoods, like giving food and other like supplies and things like that, building things, like rebuilding things, fixing infrastructure in Peru. I think that the church has responsibilities to the community outside of just like evangelizing, which is so important too. So I'm not saying it's not. I think I talked about this in my Peru reflection episode in July, but I think a really practical way to show God's love is to be generous with, and it doesn't have to just be with stuff, although yes, stuff is important, but just with your time, with your attention, with material things if you have the ability to do that. And I think like giving away food, giving away clothes, and doing so, in a way that's not contractual. Something that I like about my church, that I liked about the church in Peru, is that they do these outreaches and, these different distributions and whatever. I've heard of churches where like, we'll give you this, but are you going to give your life to God real quick? are you gonna, we're gonna force you to pray real quick. And I think, like, on a personal level, would I love for, everybody to be on the same page? Would I love for every person that comes to get something to, want to pray or want to give their life to God? Absolutely, sure. But I also think that there's a lot of value in just like giving things because the Lord calls us to, be generous and to love on other people, no matter who they are, no matter where they are. And I like that my church, like, prayer's always available at these outreaches. They have prayer tents and they direct you, like, if you want to receive prayer, go here. If you just want to get your stuff, go here. There's no like obligation for people to engage spiritually. There's the option, and we hope that, with how we love them in other ways, like in more practical ways, I guess, um, that it inspires people to want to go get like spiritually filled up, basically. But it's not an obligation. Like, they don't have to pray with you or they don't have to give their life to God in order to get the clothes or the food that they need. And I like that. I think that that is the responsible way to be a pillar in the community as a church. And I loved that the church in Peru was kind of like that too. Like, it's an option, but there's no, like, I'm not withholding my gift until you do something spiritually. Like, take it. Take what I have. It's because the Lord calls me to do it. It's because it's a gift from Him through me, but the Lord wants to be generous to you. He calls me to be generous to you and to love you in His name. So I think, like, I'm not going to hold that back just because you do or don't do something. Doesn't matter who you are. Take it. Take everything that I have. I think another thing I liked about the church in Peru was, like, I think this is just like culture in other places in general, but obviously Peru is really the only place that I've been to. I've been to Jamaica and I've been to Peru. And I don't really remember much about my trip to Jamaica. It wasn't for a vacation. Peru's very personable and very slow in a way that the United States is not. Like, the US, there's like this hustle and bustle, routine, schedule sort of culture. And I think that that has its place. There's nothing wrong with that. I think my church is a great example of, like, there's a routine. Like, there are 4 services every weekend. Like, they need to finish on time to get to the next thing. You know what I mean? And I know that a criticism of my church, which I don't even think is invalid, everybody needs different things. And I don't think there's anything wrong with a more scheduled church. I go to one of those churches. Again, they have 3 services back to back on Sundays, 1 9, 1 11, and 1 at 1 p.m. So, like, services can't run over. Like, they do their best to, worship. When worship's done, we move to the next thing. When this is done, we move to the next thing. Okay, good, leave. Not like leave, they don't kick you out, but you know what I mean? Like, in terms of worship and the message, there are times for things. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, but I think if you want to go to a church that is more free in that sense, um, find your church. I don't think there's anything wrong with either one. Well, it depends. I think, like, for example, if the Holy Spirit is moving in a space and you want to spend more time in worship and you want to go back into the song, but you're not simply because of the schedule, I think, yes, then you're choking the Holy Spirit's ability to move in the space. But I don't think there's anything wrong with, like, outlining times for, like, okay, worship 15 minutes, message 30 minutes, service over by this time, like, making that the ideal. But if the Spirit is moving in a different way, like, you need to be obedient to that more than to the schedule. So I think if a church was being more obedient to the schedule that they set out instead of to the way that the Holy Spirit is moving, then yes, that is bad. But in general, I don't think having a schedule and having a routine is bad. Something that I really liked in Peru was, like, it was so free. Like, you could feel the atmosphere being so free. I think especially during worship, like, those were very memorable parts to me. I think because I sing on the worship team too, like, I pay attention to worship at other churches, I guess. In Peru, so free. Like, there were so many moments where there was just, like, free worship. No one was singing, maybe. Just, like, people were praying out loud. They were going back into songs. Like, it just felt so free and open. And I really loved that. And I miss that. And I miss also singing songs in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish well, at least, or like fluently, but I'm definitely like learning Spanish. I'm trying to learn Spanish more. Singing worship songs that I knew in a different language, because it's not always an exact translation of things. Like the way that we say something or express something in English is not necessarily the same way that, it might be expressed in Spanish. And I think hearing concepts worded differently, I was like, wow, sometimes it makes you think about, I wish I had a good example and I can't think of anything right now, but sometimes it makes you think about like what certain concepts mean or what even certain verses mean. Like the way it's worded in a different language, it's like, oh, that's another way to look at it. I didn't think about it quite like that, because I only know it in my one language. I also miss the food in Peru. Thinking about like they had and I don't even know the names of a lot of places that we went, because we were just like going, and I was just going where they were telling me to go. But we went to this like Chick-fil-A-esque place, like chicken sandwich place. So bus. And my favorite night, 100%, was the last night we went to this buffet, and it was so good. I had ceviche, I had a bunch of yummy food. I drank the most Inca Cola I've ever drank in my entire life, and I want to go back to Peru. I want to go back to Peru so bad. It was beautiful. Take me back, please and thank you. That was my number one highlight of the year, hence why I just talked about it for I don't even know how long, probably forever. Loved Peru. Definitely like just the best experience I've ever had in my life, honestly. And then I also wanted to talk about 3 major goals for next year. My number one goal is get a new job. I need a new job. I don't even want to talk about where I work. There's honestly nothing wrong with where I work, but it's just like I have been there for about over 6 years now. I hit the 6-year mark a couple months ago. I just really am feeling like I'm starting to outgrow it a little bit, I guess. And I'm just ready for that new experience. I'm ready for the 9 to 5 schedule, and I know that it's also going to kill me, but I think it's time. I know it's time. And I have been applying for places, but honestly, I got no motion. I got no motion in the job market, y'all. It's not right. Please pray for me that I get a new job, because that is definitely one of my goals for next year. Another goal, of course, is to post on the podcast more consistently, like at least 45 episodes. And really the goal is 52 episodes, because that would be one episode per week. But I'm also just trying to be realistic about my goals so that it doesn't feel out of reach. And I think realistically, I could see myself, like if I'm out of town or if like I'm sick or I don't know, just if something comes up, I think 45 is a reasonable number. I give myself 7 chances to like mess up, basically. 7 chances? Like that's a lot. 6, 7 chances? Like that's a lot of chances to mess up. So I think 45 episodes, that's the goal for next year. Post more consistently, have interesting educational episodes that enrich me and enrich you all. That's the goal for the podcast. The last one, low key want to try to pay off my car next year. And I think that is a very ambitious goal. Well, it's really not. Because I did the math. I have about $5,500 left on my car before I can fully pay it off. I pay $320 a month. Basically, I'm going to be paying close to $4,000 of that $5,500. Not, can you guys see that? This is how much I'm going to pay on my car. $1,840 next year. So I've got about $1,500 left. And I think if I put a little bit extra every month or so, if I get a few $100s, like just put it towards the car, I think I can pay it off next year. And then that would be really cool. We'll see, because I also got student loans to pay for and everything's expensive, but that would be the goal. That's the goal. I have other financial and personal goals, but I'm keeping those to myself because low-key, some of them it's like if I don't hit this, like I don't want anybody to know. So yeah, those are my 3 major goals. Not my only goals, but 3 of the major ones, I would say. Those are my highlights from 2025, goals for 2026. Really, one more major topic I wanted to talk about were my ins and outs. I love this, and I always forget because I feel like ins and outs are low-key more fun to talk about than New Year's resolutions. New Year's resolutions are great. I just gave New Year's resolutions, so I'm not talking badly on them. But I love to talk about ins and outs. And I have a friend who loves talking about ins and outs too. And I always like don't have much to contribute to the conversation, mostly because I just need time to think. I'm just one of those people that needs a little bit of time to think about things, I guess. I'm not like, I'm not that quick up here. But don't tell that to any employers. I'm super, super smart. I am someone who needs more time to think about things. So I did take some time to actually list out my ins and outs for next year. Let's start with my outs. Outs. Being chronically online. Today I went out with my friends and we were actually being so chronically online that I was getting irritated with myself at the amount of online references that I was making. Genuinely. Like, and we were making fun of ourselves. So it is fun. Like, it was actually hilarious. But also, I'm reflecting and I'm like, it really gets to a point. Like, every sentence that we were saying, TikTok sound, Vine, online meme, online reference. Guys, why can't we just have a conversation? Like why do I know so many things? I know too much. I know too much online stuff. I know too much online stuff. Enough with the online stuff. So I want to be out with being chronically online. Another out for 2026, needing to have so many devices. I have my phone, I have my iPad, I have my MacBook, and I have a Kindle, and I have a TV. And like what's crazy is I really want a Nintendo Switch. Well, first of all, I don't have money for a Nintendo Switch right now. That's number one. Number two, I don't need another device. I don't need another game right now. I just don't. I have been giving myself too much dopamine with all my devices to the point where I think I talked about this in the last episode, but like watching a movie or watching TV without picking up my phone or my iPad or my MacBook genuinely feels productive. And that's insane that watching a movie without using my phone feels productive. It's too far. Like sometimes I'll catch myself, and this is low-key embarrassing to admit because it makes me feel like a little stupid girl, but genuinely like I could be watching a show, as soon as the show goes to commercial break, I'm checking my phone, going on TikTok, checking my texts. Well, probably not checking my texts. I'm really bad at responding actually. But scrolling on TikTok, commercial break ends, I'm going back to watching the show. Commercial break comes back, we're back on TikTok. Stop. Actually, stop. I'm done with that for 2026. Also, I should have said this in the beginning that some of my ins and outs are like for the collective, and some of my ins and outs are just personal. That's a personal out for me. No more being chronically online. No more having so many devices. Another out that I think this should be for the collective, out with the AI. And you know what? I already know that that's probably not going to happen. I would love it if it did. Get out. Actually, get out. Get out with the AI. Get out with the AI. Stop. And I know that that's probably not going to happen. And I know that AI is, becoming more and more integrated in our lives. I already did my whole chat on AI. I see its benefits in some ways, so I'm not, completely crapping on it. But I just don't really care for it. And I want us to go back to a world in which AI was not so commonplace. But I think especially something I need AI to truly leave is music and like the arts. I think the fact that AI has a place in those spaces, it gets to a point. And I don't think that there's value in replacing human creativity and emotions and expression with a computer. It's like counterfeit expression. Like, no, just listen to the human. Just read the human's work. Whatever. I already talked about this in another episode. AI is out. Another out for me, this is me personally, cursing. I feel like I've actually improved on this a lot throughout the year, but I just want to clean up my mouth. Um, Again, I have improved. I've been saying a lot more, what the freak, what the heck. I said crapping. I have noticed myself improving genuinely, but still not 100% of the way there. I think something else I struggle with is that sometimes I want to make a joke that I tell myself, like, oh, this is only going to be funny if I say the curse word. And if that's the case, like, girl, just don't say the joke. God is still working on me for sure, but I don't want that to be an excuse to just do whatever I want. The point I was trying to make is that sometimes I find myself cursing for the sake of the joke. And it's like, what is the Bible verse that's like, let no unwholesome talk leave your mouth. Like, we need to, I need to clean up my mouth. It's not horrible. It's really not, but still not 100% of the way there. So cursing is an out for me for 2026. Another out, gossiping, being mean. I wouldn't say I'm mean. I definitely wouldn't say I'm mean. I think a lot of people think I'm nice, and I think I am nice, and I think I'm pretty patient, and I tend to lean less towards being like reactionary, but sometimes I do want to lean into gossip a little bit. And I think more than anything else, though, I don't always call people out when they're gossiping or when they're being mean. A lot of the times I do. Or like, maybe I don't call them out because that's not really my personality, but I will give my perspective and I'm like, maybe this is how I see the situation. And I try to, I guess, dissuade people I'm around from gossiping or being mean in that way because I'm just like, this is how I see it. Again, I don't call them out in the sense that I'm like, oh my gosh, don't say that. Maybe I do need to do that. I don't know. Anyway, saying all that to say that I think one of my goals is to just be in places where I'm tempted to gossip less. The more that I'm in places where people are gossiping, the more that I'm also going to want to gossip. Not in that place in my life, honestly. And it is a thing of like my faith and my relationship with the Lord. Like, I don't feel good after I gossip. And I think that there were times where I would look forward to gossiping, like years ago. The older I get, the more that I'm like, I just don't feel good about it after. Even if everything that I was saying was true, or like just telling a story or just like telling the facts, what's really the point of that? And a lot of times it's like the point was just to talk about someone else's life and give my unsolicited opinion. And it's like, let me just shut up, actually. I'm gonna try to chill on the gossiping next year. Maybe influence the people around me to gossip or be mean less. Another out for 2026. Actually, what I wrote down in my notes is buying food pon road, or alternatively, buying food pon street, which is the way that my Jamaican mother would say buying food like at restaurants and stuff like that. I eat out like actually way too much. It really gets to a point. It gets to a point. It got to that point this year, I fear. And we're done. We're done constantly buying food on the road. I don't think there's anything wrong with eating out every once in a while. Maybe even like having a day where you're like, okay, this is my day where I eat out so that you can look forward to that day once a week. Sure, it's not okay. The amount of times, me personally, that I was eating out in a week. No. No. No, no, no. Another out. Clutter and disorganization. Right now, I mean, honestly, you can't really tell because I put some things on the floor, but my room's looking a little crazy. Not horrible, but not the best it's ever looked either. It's definitely been cleaner. And I think clutter and disorganization out for 2026. Like, we're getting organized. I need to find more permanent places for some things. Like, truly, we're going to put things back where they belong, not just have piles. I feel like something that I've noticed about myself this year for sure. Growing up, we didn't have like a desk in my room and we didn't have chairs in my room. I shared a room with my sister for like 2 years ago. We moved here and this is my first time having my own room other than when I was in college. Something that people always talk about with having their own rooms, specifically having like chairs and a desk space, which I have now, is like the chair. And it's like the chair has all your clothes on it. And I never related to that growing up. Now that I have a chair, like I have the chair. Like I have the chair with a bunch of clothes on it sometimes and I'm like, I do eventually clean it up. Like why can't just the chair just be the chair? Like why are we putting clothes on the chair, girl? You have drawers. So I'm going to try to do that less for 2026. On the same note of clothes, waiting forever to do laundry. Enough of that. Especially in the winter because clothes are so like big and heavy. Need to do laundry once a week. Just do it. Like stop waiting because sometimes I really will let my hamper overflow and then I have to do multiple loads. And it's just like, I don't want to do that. I just want to do one load, call it a day. No more waiting until it's overflowing my hamper. Just do it, bruh. Last out for 2026 is bed rotting. To know me is to know that I bed rot. I do. I wish I didn't. But I do. Not always. There's some weeks where I'm, very productive and everything's good and I'm great. And there are other days where I could spend the entire morning in my bed. My bed is so comfortable, and my phone is awesome, and I love TV. I was born in the right generation. I love my bed, I love my TV, and I love my iPhone. No more of that. I wanna get up, get a head start on the day. Not even a head start, just get a start on the day. And I do think that there is a reasonable amount of bed rotting that is needed for human enjoyment. Stay in bed for sure. The bed rotting of it all, like, why can't I still get up and like change my clothes, make my bed, do basic tasks, and then go rot on the couch? You know what I mean? I think sometimes I really do be wanting to stay in my bed just a little bit too much. And it's like, and another reason why I want to get out of my bed more is that my mattress, which this is just a side note, like I definitely 100% need a firm mattress topper because my bed is too soft. My mattress is too soft. And I think my body is sinking in it so much that like my back is literally like curving when I'm laying down in my bed. I feel like my back is becoming very weak because of that. So we're gonna, look into getting a firm mattress topper. But that's another reason I feel like I need to get out of my bed is because, like, is this really good for my body? Probably not. Those are all of my outs for 2026. That took so long, actually, guys. And then my ins. Things that are in, again, some of these are for the collective and some things are personal. In saying the nice things out loud. I think I have a lot of nice thoughts about other people, like, oh my gosh, I love your hair. I love your outfit. I think you're so patient. I think you're so welcoming to others, like whatever the case may be. Gotta say those things out loud. Stop keeping the nice things to yourself. I think this is, as the collective, something that we can do, but something that I want to do personally as well. Being more complimentary towards people. I think it will make me happier. It'll brighten someone else's day. You never know when someone just needs to hear like one nice thing. Like you could be someone's one nice thing. And I think that that's really cool. But I hold back a lot. Not always, but a lot of times I hold back. No more of that. Number two, this kind of goes hand in hand with my out of buying food out, but cooking and baking more and having like signature recipes that are like my thing. I've been having some like Friendsgivings, dinner parties, whatever, and I've been making this like chickpea kale pasta salad I've been making. And it's kind of becoming like my thing that I'm bringing to things, and people keep asking me for the recipe. I want to continue exploring the cooking and baking region, I guess, of my life, and having more things that I'm like comfortable cooking, comfortable, giving to other people, all that stuff. So cooking and baking more, having personal signature recipes is an in. I think another in for me is being a better gift giver. I'm a horrible gift giver, and I know some people that are so like intentional with their gifts and are really good at like being personal with their gifts. And I'm just not one of those people. We don't really give gifts in my house. I think probably since I was like a sophomore or junior in high school, like gifts kind of stopped, which I don't think that there's anything good or bad with giving gifts or not giving gifts, whatever. Doesn't matter. But I think even like if I think about my friendships growing up, like when it was my friends' birthdays, like we would never give gifts. Maybe we would, yeah, we would just never give gifts. I don't know. Like we didn't really have birthday parties. We didn't really give gifts. Like you'd get like a post on Instagram. In my neighborhood, my childhood friends, like it was not commonplace to get people stuff for their birthday. I want to be a better gift giver because I receive gifts sometimes and I'm like, wow, this was so thoughtful. Like you really, I can tell you took your time on it. And I just don't have that bone, but I want to get that bone. Not that I don't put thought into my gifts, but I feel like they don't always have a personal touch. Like I do think like, oh, would this person use this? I do think that, but I'm not the best with like personal cards or, making little pictures and stuff like that. And I feel like I have a lot of friends that are amazing with those things. Because I feel like I didn't receive a lot of gifts growing up, I also don't expect gifts very often. And I think I didn't realize like the importance of gift giving until probably my junior or senior year of high school, because I got a different group of friends and they would have like birthday dinners and things like that. And that's when I started to learn, like, oh, like when you go to celebrate someone's birthday, like you need to bring a gift. Again, I just feel like growing up, like my best friends, like I don't have any gifts from my best friends from like elementary school and middle school. I don't have any gifts from them that I'm like, oh yes, this is a gift that they got me. Nor do they have that from me. Like it wasn't, like a one-sided thing. It's just like, again, not that we would never give gifts, but I guess if we gave gifts, they were very small. My point is that gift giving is something that's still relatively new to me, and I want to be a better gift giver because I think it's nice to like show thought and care through a gift. Because I like when I get a good gift. I'm like, wow, you really love me. Like you really love me and thought about me. But I'm not good at showing my love in that way, and I want to be better. Another in for me 2026, being more creative. I think I always forget how much I like to be creative until I get to being creative and I'm like, oh, this is fun. I think like being crafty, I like to be crafty, but I often don't make time for it, so I want to do that more. Maybe write more. There was an era in my life when I was like writing, and that was really fun, whether it's writing, crafts, music, even, which I always say, like, I just don't think I can make music, but maybe I can. Maybe I need to, maybe that's an underexplored area of my life. I don't know. You never know. So I think being more creative in that sense is an in for me. And on that note, kind of, but like low key, need to lock in on singing. And I say this because I don't have like big dreams of being a musician or a singer by any means. I'm mid at best of a singer, mid singer. I do the majority of my singing now at church or like within the worship realm. Whereas when I was younger, like in high school, I would sing more so for fun. Like I wasn't serving on the worship team. But now when I sing, it's usually worship music at church. I've been feeling like if it's something that I'm doing to glorify God, then I should work harder at it, which doesn't mean that I'm trying to be perfect at it so that I sound good and so that it's all about me. Like, how do I sound? How do I sound? But it's just like, if worship is a way to honor the Lord, like, why are you not working harder at it? I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. It makes sense to me. Like, there's a verse in the Bible that's like, whatever you do, work at it with all of your heart, like you were working for the Lord. Because that verse, I think, applies to whatever you do. Like, even if you're at a job that you don't like, that has nothing to do with church, you should work at it as if you're working for the Lord. Like, everything that you're given, work at it like it's for God. And I think worship is a situation where it's like, it's literally for God. So I shouldn't be okay with being like so stagnant in it, I guess. And I think I'm very much in the same place vocally that I was in high school. Like nothing has really changed. And I've been feeling a little bit convicted about that. Cause I'm like, hmm, like let's try a little bit harder and see what happens. What I'm saying basically is that if what I'm doing is supposed to be to glorify and honor God, then do it better and put more effort into it because he deserves that. To be clear, like I'm a pretty prepared member of the worship team, I would say. Like I come in, I know my harmonies. I don't come into rehearsal like unprepared. I think I've just always been that way though. Growing up like in choir and theater, like if nothing else, I'm going to know my part. I'm like, okay, if I'm not going to have the most amazing voice, then I will know my part and I will be reliable and I will be able to teach others and be a leader in that way. But just know that I don't have like some outstanding voice, but I'm gonna know my part and I'm gonna know my harmony. Growing up, I always valued like being a reliable background person. Okay, it's like if you're unreliable and your voice is not that good, what's the point of you being here? I don't know if that's necessarily true for worship, but I think that that's how I felt about like chorus and theater. Like, girl, you're not even that good to begin with, and you don't know your part. Mm-mm. Don't do that. Don't do it. I don't know how I got on this topic, but basically want to lock in on singing more because I think I should be showing my effort in that area. Oh, another in for me for 2026, going to DC more. I live in the DMV area, but I don't live in DC. I just live in the DMV. Like, I can travel to DC very easily. And over the last few weeks, I've been realizing how little I take advantage of DC. Like, I don't think I've ever gone to DC and been like, oh, I'm going to this restaurant in DC. Like, I think the first time I've ever really done that was last week. Not that I've never been to DC, mind you. Like, I've been to DC plenty of times. I guess I don't know DC very well. I don't go to many restaurants in DC. And it's like, it's literally in my backyard. Like, it's so easily accessible. I can take the metro anytime I want. And I feel like I don't explore in DC more. So I want to explore in DC more. There's so much stuff there. Go to DC more, romanticize it more, be more of a true DMV girl. Another in traveling, I have a trip to Texas. I think it's in June. I think I'm going to a concert. Rosalia. La Rosalia. I just want to travel more. And I said that last, like for 2025. And I wouldn't say I traveled more. I did go to Peru, which is a very big thing. But in terms of local travel, that didn't happen. Let's make it happen next year. I want to go to Nashville. That's the place I've been wanting to go to. Going to Texas. I want to go to Boston. And I want to go to New York. I low-key want to go to LA too. I just want to explore the US more. There's lots to see. And honestly, international travel too. I just want to travel, just want to see the world. There's so much to see. God gave us so much stuff. Like, girl, see it. I was going to say I'm grateful that I'm financially in a place that I can do that, but I'm not at all in that place financially. But I want to get there, which is another thing on my list, which is saving money. I need to save way more money than I have been. Something I'm planning on doing soon is going through all my clothes and selling things on Facebook Marketplace and on Depop, using that money to buy clothes that are comfortable, like physically and also, I guess, emotionally, like that I feel comfortable in, that look good, that I'm happy wearing, I guess. Because I just feel like I have so much stuff that I'm like, I think that this money could be used better. So I want to really sell my clothes and buy more clothes that are more comfortable and also save some of that money for things like traveling. Which like I know it's really not that much, but you know, money adds up. Money adds up. So saving my paychecks, selling my clothes, hopefully all those things kind of work together to help me get more money to embark on this traveling journey that I want to embark on in 2026. Want to travel, want to save money, want to wear clothes that I like more. And on the same topic of clothes, need to dress more adult like, because I feel like right now I have a, I don't know, I think my style is more like streetwear style. I wear a lot of like cargos, chunky sneakers, baggy tops, like hoodies and stuff like that, which I love. And I don't think I'm ever gonna get rid of that. Honestly, I feel like I look good in that and I'm comfortable in it. But I also recognize, especially like singing at church, gotta be a little bit more dressy. Like, I cannot wear cargos for, at least like for youth, you can, but for like singing upstairs at the like main services, nothing I just described is appropriate for that. You know, hopefully I'm getting a job next year, job interviews, like all that stuff. You know, I think it's time for some slacks. I think it's time for some slacks. I think it's time for a nicer shoe, maybe a loafer of sorts, some dressier blouses. I don't necessarily want that, but I just realized like it's time to dress a little bit more adult, which is again why I want to sell some of my clothes. Because there are just some clothes that I'm like, I'm never gonna wear this. And I don't like even wearing this. So I want to invest in clothes that are functional, that I like. I think that's it, guys. I think that's it for my ins and outs. I have a wedgie. I need to use the bathroom and I need to stop on my job and make a TikTok. So for all of these reasons, it's time to go. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for tuning into the 2025 wrap up. Looking ahead to 2026, I usually put these episodes out on Fridays. And for 2026, we're going to move to Saturdays. And the reason why is because I feel like I was starting to struggle with Fridays because some Friday mornings I would have to work. And I think especially if I get another job, like an actual 9 to 5, I'll probably always have to work on Fridays. And that makes it really hard for me to have an episode out 5 p.m. on a Friday. Because like the whole morning, I can't work on it, which means I have to have it ready the night before. Thursday nights, I often have church. So then it's like when do I have time to like get it together? And I think giving myself Saturday afternoon will make it easier for me to have episodes ready. So Saturday afternoons, I haven't really decided on the time, I guess. Somewhere in the 3 to 5 p.m. region. Don't expect to hear from me on Fridays anymore, but you will hear from me on Saturdays. The topics will be a little bit more enriching, a little bit more well researched, still like related to my interests and who I am. But I think I want to like use my interests to do research about things that I like. And I already have some episodes planned, which is really exciting. Although the first episode is definitely going to be like a stupid episode. And I already know what the topic for the first episode of next year is. And all I'll say is if you're a Gleek, make sure to tune in to the next episode, aka the first episode of 2026. That's about it. I really have to go, guys. Like, the wedgie is, no, it's not okay. I would do media of the week, but I think we already talked about Spotify Wrapped. That kind of was the media in a way. Oh, never mind. No, we're gonna do media of the week. Sorry, because I just remembered some shows that I've been watching that I'm like actually obsessed with. But music. Let me look at my Spotify real quick and see what I've been listening to. Folded by Kehlani. Guys, R&B is back. Thank you, Kehlani. R&B is back. It's a few months old. Like, it didn't just come out, but I've just been listening to it a lot recently, and I'm like, yeah. This song is so good, actually. Oh, someone else who I've been listening to, just like as a throwback sort of moment, Demi Lovato. Thank you, Demi Lovato, for making me emo, actually. And specifically, when I was a kid, I'm like, yeah, she's actually a diva queen. I'm so happy to see her happy and healthy and sober. Love her. Been listening to La La Land, Don't Forget, Era. So I guess tap into that if you want to tap into your emo side. Book recommendation. If you want to cry, I think that this is a good winter book. It's very emotional. Definitely check trigger warnings on this book. But Beartown by Frederick Bachman. So well written. So well written. Again, check trigger warnings, but I think it's a beautiful story, and the way he fleshes out his characters is truly unmatched. I read the first one. I'm scared to read the second one because I'm scared. Well, I know someone is going to die. Like, it's on the back of the book that someone's going to die. He outlined which characters it's about, and he was like, oh, one of them is going to die, basically. I don't know which of those four, but no matter who of the four it is, like, I'm not okay with any of these four people dying, so I'm scared to read it, but I'm going to read it. But yeah, Beartown, it was probably one of the best books I've read this year, for me, personally. So good. So good. That's my book recommendation. And book/show recommendation, as I lean into shows, Percy Jackson is back. I'm low-key addicted to Percy Jackson, guys. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm currently reading The Titan's Curse. I did not grow up reading the Percy Jackson series. I wish I did, because I think the show would hit even more if I had grown up reading it. But I am reading it now because the show's coming out, and I want to be in the world more, I guess. But I really am enjoying Percy Jackson. It's definitely like for a young audience. It's a book for preteens, absolutely. But it's really good. The storyline's good. And the themes are mature. Like, what happens to them is mature. I just think the voice of Percy, like we're in his perspective and we're in his mind. And he's a 14-year-old boy. And he talks like a 14-year-old boy. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But if you don't want to read that, then I would understand. I kind of struggled getting through the first one. Not because it wasn't good, but just because I was like, bruh, you're actually 14. Like, or low-key, he was probably 12 or 13 in the first one. So that makes it kind of tough, but the story is so good, and I'm currently on the third book, and like I literally read like 60% of the second book in one night. So it is a really quick read. So I would recommend. And again, story phenomenal. Literally just like the voice, I guess, and the language is kind of young, but otherwise chef's kiss. And on that note, TV shows, Percy Jackson TV show, loving it, love the cast, really excited to see like how they grow, because we know that there's at least 5 seasons in the Percy Jackson. There's 5 books, and it's like one book per season. Assuming that they keep getting renewed, like we at least got 5 seasons out of these kids, and they're only on season 2. and I'm excited to see how they grow as people and as actors, and they're just so cute. Like, I don't know. It's like they're my little nieces and nephews. Like, I just want to pinch all of their cheeks, and they're so adorable. So I'm loving watching the show. They're also really good actors, like genuinely good kid actors. So love that. And another show I've been watching, The Morning Show from Apple TV with Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. I think it's classified as a drama, but there are also funny things that happen in it. It's like, I think if you like Severance and Succession and those type of shows, then you will like The Morning Show. Really good. I feel like Apple TV has really good shows with like really original plot lines, and they just don't market them as much, but they really are very good. Low-key love Apple TV, guys. That's about it. Thanks so much. That's my media of the week. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching another episode. I hope everybody has happy holidays. I think this will be going up after Christmas. So I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas, and I hope everybody has a Happy New Year. And I'm excited for 2026 for, yes, the podcast, but also just personal growth. I'm excited to see the people in my life's personal growth. I'm also scared that it's 2026. Because what do you mean? Actually, what do you mean it's 2026? Time is actually racing by and it's freaking me out. With all that said, that's it. Thanks for, again, watching and listening to another episode. I need to use the bathroom. Thank you so much for watching and listening to another episode of the Bedroom Club podcast. Love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. I'll see you next year. Actually, I haven't seen you in one whole year. Anyways, bye. See you later.